Hi guys, and welcome back to Maltbox, the non-chill filtered whiskey blog. I'm Andy and I'm back here today with another whiskey video. It's a little bit different, it's not a review as such. It is, however, my review of 2021. Now, as you can probably imagine, it wasn't great, neither was 2020. However, in terms of whiskey, it was a very, very good year. A lot of great releases, a lot of great content, both online and sometimes in person or over video. And yeah, basically just pretty good overall, I'd probably say, from a whiskey point of view. I think 2020, I said in my last year review, there was more releases than I remember. This year was pretty similar. 2021, there was a load of new releases. Some of them re-releases, some new batches. And I think what I've also noticed is those prices creeping up even more over the last 2 years, definitely. That is for sure. Now, looking into 2022 already, we're going to be seeing more of that. Might as well get this out of the way. It's not going to be good for a lot of whiskey fans. There's some bottlings that I can think of that are already been rumoured to be increasing in price. We just need to look at Diageo, for example. Talisker 18, currently about 90 to 100 quid. That's rumoured, I'd say at this point, to be going up to around 150 to 200. Lagavulin 16, that staple, is also rumoured to be increasing from its current RRP of around 60 to 70 pounds. I don't even want to think about what that's going to, but unfortunately I suspect it's close to 100 quid. I've not got a source that says that, that's just my gut feeling. And it's not good. That is not good. What I would say, however, is what has been proven over the last 2 years, even the last 5 or 10 years, there's always an alternative. There are some fantastic independent bottlers out there that provide great value for money whiskey, and even some of the actual distillery bottlings themselves still provide great value to customers such as ourselves, both people new to whiskey and veterans, and basically people that don't love it as much as we do, that just enjoy it for what it is and just sit there and just enjoy whiskey after a long day. So, I mean, I think one thing that probably for me 2021 really highlighted was, again, this sort of whiskey community really came together. I'm still a member of the Whiskey Circus group, which is fantastic. A lot of great guys in there. I think overall, though, probably my 2021 highlight in whiskey was the Osras. With Roy and Ralphie running the show, they put on a fantastic evening. The organisation was second to none, and it really showed that people have the purchasing power. Vote with your wallets. The same with those pricing increases I was saying about a minute ago. Vote with your wallets. If you don't like it, buy something else. Show the people what you think of it by finding an alternative if needs be. And it was great to be involved in the Osras. It really was. I loved it. Absolutely loved being a part of it. Loved turning up on the night. Sorry for those of you that were scarred by the fact that I just had the tuxedo on the top and some swimming shorts on the bottom. In hindsight, I probably could have put a pair of trousers on, but never mind. Such is life. We are where we are. I'm sure there's some videos exchanging somewhere on the dark web of that, but never mind. But, I mean, the categories were great. The winners, also very well deserving. I think for me, what I'll be touching on next year is maybe a couple of reviews and a couple of videos about what I feel maybe should have won. But that's just me, that's my opinions. Obviously, it was a public vote, which is fantastic. I think there were a couple of surprises in there. I think there were a few that weren't. Arron 10 winning 2 categories is a testament to the guys at Arron, for example, for providing quality and affordable whiskey, particularly with the age statement on there, the 10-year-old. Great stuff. As well, I think what we need to be doing in 2022 is sort of focusing more as whiskey drinkers on supporting smaller businesses. I'm as guilty as anyone of buying things on Amazon, but I'm actively trying not to nowadays. I am buying whiskey from, for example, places online that I'm not even living near. Aberdeen Whiskey Shop, you've got Tyndrum Whiskey. You've got the Whiskey Exchange, which isn't going to be independent for much longer because it's actually been purchased by Pernod Ricard. Master of Malt is owned ultimately by AB InBev. However, I do buy a lot from Master of Malt as well. There's lots and lots of great independent shops. There really is. And try and support those where you can because they're going to need you now more than ever. I'm recording this in December. This is being recorded around Christmas time. And in the new year, I think we're going to face more restrictions again, which I'm really looking forward to. But that's going to hit people like in the hospitality and the retail industry, so we need to be supporting those two areas, definitely. And hospitality is a big part of the whisky industry as well. It wouldn't be where it is today without the hospitality industry. And going back to Diageo and the Lagavulin and the Talisker, they were kind of the guys that got that whisky into the pubs and people started drinking malts instead of the big blends on optics. So, let's try and do what we can. Definitely try and do what we can in that regard as well. And I wanted to take time as well, not to kind of reflect on what I've done or what other people in necessarily the whisky community have done, but I want to kind of reflect on what you guys have done. And not just for me, I mean for all of us as whisky commentators, whisky contributors. I'm not going to say influencers because I hate that word. It's fucking ridiculous, to be honest. But you guys are what make me do this. And I'm really sorry if you don't want me doing this anymore, any of you out there, I do apologise. It's a vicious circle. But honestly, I had a break from doing this blog for a couple of years. There were a couple of reasons behind it. I touched on a few with Roy about when I started it back up again a couple of years ago, but I didn't quite go into detail, and I'm not going to do that again. But there were a few reasons behind why I stopped. And I've come back to doing it again, and I'm loving it more than ever. I've been reviewing whiskey since 2011, 2012 in various guises. I ran a whisky club. I've done loads of stuff. I've worked festivals on the other side of the stand, pouring whiskey for people. I've gone on whiskey weekends. I've done tours, you name it. But for me, the standout is the people that I'm interacting with now. And, I set up a Patreon last year, for example, and I am honestly so humbled by all of you out there that signed up to that. I really am. You are really helping me develop this blog. You are, truly. I mean, I'm recording this with a microphone that basically Patreon funded for me, so I really, really do appreciate it. And every time I get a comment on any of my YouTube videos, it kind of makes my day, because I'm like, someone's watching this. Someone's watching me talk about something I'm passionate about. And I love it. Even if you say, I don't agree with you. Great, I would really love it if you don't agree with me, because that shows how different this is to all of us. I might like something that you might not. You might love something I can't stand. And that's fantastic. Isn't that great, though? We can all be kind of on a very different page, but we're all still within this very accessible, enjoyable, engaging world that is whisky. So thank you to all of you for watching, not just this video. If this is your first time, then hello, thank you. But if you've been watching my channel, or if you've not started to yet, honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing that. Really do appreciate it, and this is to you. Oh, lovely whiskey right there. Now, on to the main event, I suppose. My whiskey of the year. This was hard. This was really hard, genuinely. I've been doodling and scratching lists out and like, oh no, that's not going to work. Why can't I have 5 whiskies of the year? What I'm going to do, I'm going to go through basically 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with a couple of worthy mentions as well. There are a couple in there. I will go into a bit of context as to why they might maybe placed a little further down than others. We'll get onto that. To start off with, these are going to be a mix of whiskies that you can still get hold of, and some that may not be available any longer, but you may still be able to get samples, or you may have them yourself already. But I just felt compelled to include them because they had that much of an impact on me. So I'm going to start off with 2 that didn't make the final 5, but I feel are worthy of a mention, basically. And 2 of those whiskies are, the first one is the Annock 24-year-old. So Annock 24. And I really enjoyed this. If you watch the review of this, I did really enjoy it. However, it didn't make it into the top 5. The reason I'm giving it an honourable mention still is because this is fantastic value for money for what it is. It is 46% non-chill filtered, natural colour, a 24-year-old single malt for about 120 quid. That is a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But when we look at some other distilleries, other releases, for a 24, 25-year-old single malt nowadays, you're looking at upwards of 200. Those are the kind of numbers that we're talking about nowadays. It's scary stuff. It really is scary. It really is. Wages aren't increasing. Interest rates are probably going to go up. And whiskies are going up and up and up in price. There's going to reach a stage where it's going to become very, very difficult, I think, to buy the higher age statement whiskies for the average whiskey drinker like myself and probably some of you guys. The next one that I'm going to mention is from a distillery that I've done a couple of reviews of in the past. Probably not as many as I should, because it's a very underrated and overlooked distillery. However, I loved the fact that this was an ex-bourbon maturation. I loved the fact that it was kind of under the radar. It was bloody tasty for the price as well. It's this, the Glenmorangie 18-year-old. So, first fill, ex-bourbon maturation. This is bottled at 47.2%, natural colour, non-chill filtered. And it retailed for around 75 quid. However, I picked this up on offer from the Whisky Exchange at 62. And it was £62 well spent. Glenmorangie are one of probably the most underrated Speyside out there. It's a big operation. They've released a lot of whiskies this year, 4 or 5 of which I've actually purchased, I think. Probably more than I ever have done before. And they're great. Great distillery, great people, great distillate, quality single malts. Now, on to the Whisky of the Year nominations. So, the first one, now this is one that I felt should have probably made it to at least one of the nominations on the Oscars, and that was for the new distillery category. Ardnamurchan, very, very worthy winners. Lovely, lovely people, lovely distillery and great whiskey as well. However, I think I've not reviewed any Ardnamurchan. It's probably one of the reasons why I've not picked one of their bottlings, but however, this whiskey, if you saw the review, really resonated with me. I love the aesthetics. I love the people behind it. I love the whiskey as well, to be fair. It is young, yes, but it's very tasty. It's this, the Rasay Batch R01. Now, there is Batch R02, I think, now, but ultimately, it's the same cask makeup. This is their first general release. So they did have an inaugural release, which I didn't get hold of. And this was their first general release, basically, so widely available. And it was around for a bit, so there were plenty of opportunities for people to pick it up. There were several thousand bottles. I've actually got 2 of these, so this is my second open one, as you can see. Yes, it is open. Very, very tasty. Great, great, great whiskey indeed. I think I'm looking forward to seeing what Rasay have in the future, indeed. The next whiskey that I'm going to be looking at, so at number 4, one of this distillery's, it's not the name of the distillery, but the whiskey that I'm looking at next, I'm just confusing matters here, comes from the Isle of Mull. Now, I looked at the Ledaig 10 last year. I included the Ledaig 10. I still think the Ledaig 10 is probably one of the best value for money peated whiskies out there at the minute in terms of presentation, enjoyment and quality. It's overlooked. It's massively overlooked. People are starting to turn their head towards Ledaig. Not too many of you, I hope, because I want to keep some of it for myself. But Islay whiskey is expensive. I said this at the time that I was reviewing one of the Ledaigs. Islay whiskey tends to be expensive, particularly for like peaty stuff. Outside of your Ardbeg 10s and your sort of more standard bottlings like the Caol 12, Ardbeg 10, Bowmore 12, etc., etc., the price goes up quite a bit. Now, Ledaig is a very, very good viable alternative to Islay. It is a peated malt. The peated malt is actually malted on Islay, so it is Islay, peated malted barley. So there are a few characteristics that are very similar. However, I love the distillate. I'm going to include another Ledaig, and this came in at number 4 for me, and it's the Rioja finish Sinclair series Ledaig. And the reason that I've put this in at number 4 is because I opened this and I reviewed this, I think about 2 months ago now from recording this video. It's great value for money. Now again, support your local retailer. I bought this from an independent retailer that was actually price matching Amazon, I think. It was about 30 odd quid, 33 quid. But I've not seen this above £40 in the UK. I could be wrong, but I've not so far seen it above 40 quid. It's a no age statement, yes. But do you know what it is? It's 46.3%. I believe it to be non-chill filtered. And in terms of the colour, well, yeah, it says non-chill filtered on the side. In terms of colour, I can't remember off the top of my head whether it's got added colour in it or not, but it's very, very pink because of that Rioja finish, so I'd like to think not. But it offers a really nice multi-dimensional peaty dram because you've got the wine influence in there and you've still got a lovely peaty whiskey underneath as well. Great whiskey. Number 3. Now, this is a whiskey that I didn't review on the channel. This is a whiskey that I reviewed over at maltboxwhiskey.com. And the reason I didn't review it on the channel was because there was a limited number of bottles. I mean, in the scheme of things, let's see how many bottles there were. I think there was something like, there was quite a lot. It was in the thousands. I think we're talking like maybe 4,000 or something. I can't remember. Can't remember off the top of my head. Please do correct me, somebody. However, this is a 28-year-old Bunnahabhain, bottled by Weems Malts. And it is this, Untold Riches, 28-year-old Bunnahabhain. Now, I picked this up earlier this year. I'm talking like February, March time. The reason I'm including this is because this really blew me away. Head over to maltboxwhiskey.com and have a look at this review. It is stunning. It is genuinely stunning. And another reason why it's in this list is because it cost 150 quid. It's a lot of money, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm sat here just like, you know, splashing that cash all the time. But £150 for a 28-year-old sherried Bunnahabhain, it's a no-brainer for me, at least. I had a bit of cash aside. I was fortunate enough to be able to afford one of these and pick one up. And it is just incredible whiskey, it really is. I've not met a single person that's had one of these that hasn't loved it. So, honestly, brilliant. I think, I'll be honest, I'll level with you. If there was more of it, and it was probably a general release, shall we say, it will never be, but let's just, for argument's sake, it probably would have come at number 1. Because it tasted that good. However, not everyone's going to get it. Not everyone can access it. So I'm kind of playing on that a little bit as well. Now the next one, now this was difficult because I swapped these two around so many times. Now the whiskey that came in at number 2, I'd probably caveat, it was close. All right, it was very, very close. I'm going to have another drink. I'm going to steel myself with this. Oh, a little bit fruity. It's from a distillery that has won some awards recently. It's a distillery and a whiskey that I reviewed a couple of weeks back from recording this video. And I actually left a couple of seconds of the video right at the end in on purpose where I stood up, and it actually caught me saying something like, "My God, that's good," off camera. And I kept it in because I didn't realise I'd said it while it was recording. And I think that kind of just sort of showed a genuine reaction. And I always try to record some videos opening bottles so you get my first impression. Nothing beats a genuine first impression. I wear my heart on my sleeve. If I don't like something, you'll see it in my face, genuinely. If I like something, you'll also see it in my face. This is from a distillery on the island of Arran. So it's in Arran. And number 2 in my whiskey of the year is this. It's the Arran 18-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. I fell in love with this trying it for the first time, and you can see I've only had a couple of drams out of it still. I've only had 3 drams out of it. But I had to include it, guys. It made such an impression on me. I withheld buying one of these for so long because it was about 80 odd quid. And I thought, you know what, there's a lot of other whiskies out there that I can be buying with that. I can buy 2 whiskies at 40 quid each and have 2, blah, blah, blah. And I just went for it. And I really regret not getting one sooner. I really do, because it is a lovely, lovely whiskey and another example of the quality of spirit that the guys on Arran are producing. Brilliant stuff, and well worth the 80 quid in my opinion. It really is. No massive pricing increases, please, Arran. Please. Please. I can't take any more. Right, so now on to this. Now, my whiskey of the year was a very difficult choice, not just in terms of picking this between the Arran and this, but also I kind of wanted to revisit it a few times. I could also be left with egg on my face after a recent visit to Aquaviti's channel. However, I'm going to stick to my guns. Now, this is not a single malt. My whiskey of the year, might as well get it out there, it's not a single malt. It's not an age statement. It's not £100 whiskey. It's not £200 whiskey. It's not some super, super duper FOMO release, you know, like when it's gone, it's gone. It's not something that you can flip. It's not something you'll make a profit on. It's a drinking whiskey. It's a tasty whiskey. It's a quality whiskey. It is a whiskey that is affordable. It's accessible. It is not going anywhere anytime soon. It is a blended malt Scotch whiskey. So it is a mixture of single malts from different distilleries that are then vatted together to form a blended malt whisky. It's produced by Compass Box. You know where this is going. My whisky of the year is this. Compass Box Orchard House blended Scotch whisky. And do you know what? I have absolutely no qualms with choosing this as my whisky of the year. This is my third bottle of this whisky, and I'm down to that again. So this kind of shows you, lots of fingerprints on there, but never mind. It kind of shows you how much I'm enjoying this. This is a whisky that was released around, I think it was actually bottled, it says on the back here, in July, but it didn't really come to the market until maybe August, September. So in September, you're kind of getting into the colder months, but I've still been going back to this. That is what I'm drinking now. It is fruity, it is creamy, it is delicious, it's citrusy. You can tell that there's quality malts in there. The blending is second to none. It's about 40 quid, I think. It retails at about 40 quid. And it's there alongside Spice Tree and Peat Monster, etc. in their core range, in Compass Box's core range. So this isn't going anywhere. This is, for now, at least, an indefinite release into their core range. And it's a credit to John Glazer and the guys at Compass Box for putting this together, because that is some tasty stuff. It really, really is. And I do not regret buying this at all. Or the bottle after that. Or the one after that. Great stuff. If you've not tried it, then if you see, if you don't want to buy a bottle, fair enough. But if you see this in a bar, please, I do encourage you just to give it a try. It's lovely. It's on the lighter side, but it's so fruity. It's so, nice spice, nice bit of creaminess in there. Really, really tasty. Very enjoyable. The kind of whiskey that you can analyse for ages and pick it apart like some of us geeks like to do. Alternatively, it's just fantastic for sitting in a tumbler watching your favourite TV show as well. So guys, with that in mind, I'm going to box it off now. Before I do, however, I just wanted to raise a glass to you all and say thank you again for all of your support, all of your views, all of your opinions, all of your comments, all of your interactions. Honestly, you are the guys that make whiskey what it is. Here's to you. Cheers. God, that's good. If you'd like to follow my social media, I'm on Twitter at Maltbox, Instagram at MaltboxWhisky, maltboxwhisky.com. And if I don't speak to you beforehand, I really, truly hope that you and yours have a fantastic Christmas or festive period and an exceptional New Year. Here's to you.